Okay, all right, looking at today, lesson 6, subtracting real numbers. So what we did here again was just being able to subtract real numbers. Yeah, looking at a set closed or open, remember that the set, it has to be true in all situations, every single possible situation that you can think of in order for it to be considered true. So if we look here, the set of integers is closed under subtraction. So that means if I have an integer subtracted by another integer, I'm always going to get another integer. So let's say we get like 2 minus 5 equals negative 3. We can see these are all integers. And in every other situation we can think of, it's always going to be true. Whenever we have two integers, one taken away from another, we're going to get another integer. Here the set of real numbers is closed under subtraction. So remember, real numbers, that could be rational or irrational numbers. But when we take one away from another, they're basically saying that we're going to get another real number. So it turns out that this is also true. Whenever we have one real number taken away from another, we'll end up with a real number. All right, opposites. Again, this concept should be pretty intuitive. Another name for it is the additive inverse. What we see here is, let's just say the opposite of negative 4 is going to be 4. The opposite of, like, let's say 7 is going to be negative 7. So when we look at the inverse property of addition, what we see is that when we add a number and its opposite, it's always going to sum to 0. Rules for subtracting real numbers. Okay, so to subtract a number, we're going to add its inverse. So like here, 3 minus 5, we just rewrite that as 3 plus a negative 5. And then there's some further examples here if you'd like further practice, but again, these are totally equal, and how we're writing these, again, we can just write it as an addition of the inverse. This example here, so if we're 14,494 feet above, at the peak of Mount Whitney, the 282 feet below sea level at the lowest point in Death Valley. It's asking, like, what is the distance from the lowest point in Death Valley to the peak of Mount Whitney? So what we see here, so we can say we're starting at 14, I always like to draw a picture. So if we have sea level here, and here we got Mount Whitney, this was 14,494 feet. Let's just say here we have Death Valley. Let's say Death Valley. And then this is going to be 282 feet below. And what we see here is that if we combine the distance from the top of the peak to the bottom of Death Valley, we're just adding those two numbers. We get 14,494. I'm just going to label everything as feet. Plus 282 feet. We're going to get 14,776 feet. Okay, here's another example here. So if you wanted to do this example, feel free to take your time to go ahead and do that. Yeah, so here just taking the difference to see which one had the greatest temperature change. So Texas, we started at 104, and then we can see the difference between 104 and 89 is going to be 15. If we want to think about this another way, we could go ahead and see that it's been a decrease of 15 degrees. That's totally fine as well. And here we have negative 2 minus, in this case, negative 10 for Pennsylvania. We see the difference is a total of 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So therefore, we see that Texas had a greater temperature change. Okay, here's another example. Again, I always think about drawing a picture. So if we're going up 60 feet, but then dropping back down 80 feet, you can see we do 60 minus 80. You can see the total difference in the elevation is negative 20 feet. If you wanted to also just say 20 feet down, that's okay as well. All right, yep, lesson 6, we looked at subtracting real numbers, and then that was the homework there. All right, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.